Hello and welcome back to the Purposeful Shift. I am your host, Emma Bryant, and I am so glad that you are here. Thank you for sharing a small part of your day with me. If you have been listening to some of our earlier episodes, you will know that we have been considering ideas and concepts around purpose, success, and our personal why. Today, we're going to build on those ideas a little further using a beautiful Japanese concept called Ikigai, which roughly translates to reason for being. In Japanese culture, Ikigai is an approach to life that encompasses joy, purpose, and well-being. A simplified version of Ikigai encourages us to find a sweet spot between what we love, what we're good at, what the world needs, and what we can be paid for. It's where passion, purpose, and practicality meet, and it's often the key to waking up with genuine joy and direction every single day. So if you've ever found yourself asking, what am I meant to be doing with my life? Or how can I make my work feel more meaningful? Then this episode could be just for you. If you're able to, this is a great episode to have your journal to hand so that you can make some notes, or just to be able to settle in somewhere quiet and reflect. And get ready to explore what Ikigai can teach us about rediscovering our purpose and finding moments of meaning in our lives. So let's start with what Ikigai actually is. So in Japanese, Ikigai roughly translates to reason for being. It comes from iki, meaning life or alive, and gai, meaning worth, value, or effort. Together they form this idea of a life that's worth living. The concept is said to have evolved from principles of traditional Japanese medicine, where tradition holds that physical well-being is affected by one's mental and emotional health. Various figures over time have explored the distinctions of Ikigai, stating it's a state of well-being that arises from activities that people enjoy to a longer-term reflection of a life lived well and the most lasting forms of happiness. Broadly speaking, it's said that Ikigai isn't about chasing success or ticking off quick win goals, but the focus is more on balance over a longer term. It's a concept that blends passion, talent, purpose, and fulfillment together, combining what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what people are willing to pay for. Ikigai is a deeply personal concept. It's centered around long-term fulfillment and a sense of accomplishment, but that generally considers benefit to others, not just ourselves, which is one of the things that makes it distinctive. Ikigai invites us to find joy and meaning not only in our big achievements, but also in ordinary mindful living, embracing simple and small pleasures every single day. As one neuroscientist called Ken Mogi describes Ikigai as waking up to joy. What a wonderful way to start the day. Various practitioners will state that everybody has Ikigai. It's just a case of finding it. And that can take some time. It can take deep self-reflection, and it can take some effort. But I'd like to help you start that journey today through this episode. So the simplified version of Ikigai that we will explore today has both personal and social dimensions. It's said that finding your Ikigai requires thought around 4 key areas, which we often see in the Western world visualized as a Venn diagram of 4 overlapping circles. The spot in the very middle where all the 4 circles overlap, that's your sweet spot, that's your Ikigai. Though the Venn diagram isn't representative of the traditional Japanese understanding of Ikigai, using a diagram like this can be a really helpful way for us to consider the various elements and to fill each of those circles with ideas based on our own experiences, our own knowledge, and our own personal understanding of the world. So when you take this exercise, you might find that filling some of the circles are easier than others. But even those which are easy can still be really helpful in finding clarity, and it can highlight any adjustments that you might want to make in your life. So the first circle is what you love. The second circle is what you are good at. The third circle is what the world needs. And the fourth circle is what you can be paid for. So what you love is ultimately your passion. It's the things that make you feel alive, that make you feel creative or inspired. The experiences that we have that bring us the most joy, and they could range from singing to painting to walking. They could be spending time with friends or writing poetry or running or being in nature or reading a book in front of the fire at home. It's whatever it is that you personally love. And it's important that we allow ourselves time and space to think really deeply about the things that we love without judgment. We don't need to worry at this point if we are good at the things that we love, or if the world needs the things that we love, or if we can get paid for the things we love. That's not important right now. All that we focus on in this circle is just what we love, what we're passionate about, what brings us joy, what makes us feel alive, creative, or inspired. Those things with no other concerns, just those things that bring us that joy and passion. The next circle is what you are good at, and that reflects your natural strengths or skills that you've honed over years of experience, and they can be both professional and personal. So this could include hobbies, or it could include work-related items. It might be that you have natural talents for things that you no longer practice, or it could be skills that you've developed over a really long time, which you're now extremely expert in. And these could range from playing the flute to playing football, from painting a picture or drawing to being a surgeon. In this section, in this circle, we are only focusing on what we are great or good at. We don't need to worry if these things are actually things that we enjoy or that we're passionate about. And we don't need to worry if the world even needs these things or would in fact actually pay for them. At the moment, we're just noting what we are really good at. So it doesn't matter if we enjoy it. It doesn't matter if the world needs it. It doesn't matter if the world will pay for it. It's just what we are good at, your natural strengths and abilities and experience and skills that you developed over time or that come naturally to you. The third circle is what the world needs. And that connects you to your service of others. It's how your energy and your talents can make a difference, however big or small that might be. So when we talk about the world, we're not necessarily thinking about the whole world as we know it. It could be a small community or a section of society that you are connected to. That could be the world that you focus in on at this point. It could be a great big community, or it could be a small community of just a few people. This circle is effectively filled with your thoughts that are based on impressions or assumptions or opinions of others that you have collected and learnt over time. So it might include things that are beyond your ability to control. So things such as public services, nursing, policing. It might be basic human needs, clean water, food, shelter, heating. It might be medicine. It's what the world needs and how that affects the community that you're thinking about, the world that you're thinking about. And this section is important because it takes us beyond our individual needs and helps us to think about how we can do good for other people. And that's a really important connection to make as part of this Ikigai process. The final circle is what you can be paid for. And this circle reminds us that it's okay and even important that we value our worth, because valuing our worth is what makes what we do sustainable. It's a dimension that still involves other people beyond ourselves, because we need other people to pay for our skills and what we're worth. This section encourages us to think about what the market, i.e. people, will be willing to pay for. And that might be largely dependent on the state of the economy at the time, or the demand for your skills and knowledge from other people. So this might fluctuate. In the show notes, I will share the Venn diagram so that you can see how these circles overlap. In essence, where what you love and what you are good at overlap, you will find your passion. Where what you are good at and what you can be paid for overlap, you will find your profession. Where what you can be paid for and what the world needs overlap, you will find your vocation. And where what the world needs and what you love overlap, you will find your mission. Where your passion, profession, vocation, and mission overlap, the very center, you will find your Ikigai. So your Ikigai, or your sweet spot, is something that you are truly passionate about, that you are also good at, that the world needs right now. And remember, that world could be your local community, and that someone will pay you for. So when I did this exercise last, I came up with the idea of swimming as an example that I'd like to share with you. So I am an ex-competitive swimmer who was quite successful back in my day, a long time ago, competing at national level and swimming at competitions every weekend all around the country. I've got many years experience as a swimming teacher, and as a former swimmer, I think I'm quite a good swimming teacher. I believe that swimming is a life skill which everybody should have. And recently, the World Health Organization actually described deaths by drowning as a preventable crisis. It's something that the world needs, and not just my local community, but the world as a whole. It's also a skill that people are willing to pay for. And as someone who has spent a great deal of their life in water, it's something that I actually love to do. So for me, swimming is a sweet spot. Swimming is an ikigai. This example was an easy one for me to find because swimming has been such a big part of my life. And it's also a skill that I've developed and that I've mastered over a long time, and which I'm able to share with others and which others see as a skill that they're willing to pay for. So it's quite clear for me how swimming fits into that Venn diagram and into that Ikigai model. But I honestly struggle to find other examples, and swimming was the only one really that I could think I could bring that to this podcast today. And you might find this too. You might find an idea that comes really easily to you that's really obvious, and you might find that you struggle to go beyond one or two initial ideas. Or you might find that some of your circles are really easy to populate and others are really difficult to populate, making that sweet spot again really difficult to find because you can't necessarily fill all of your 4 circles very easily. But when you do find the alignment, that's where the magic can happen. So all of a sudden you can identify a purpose that is joyful and grounded and meaningful. There's an Ikigai tribe who noted that Ikigai is not to do with professional success or entrepreneurship, though it is often used to help people reflect in these areas too. The tribe said that Ikigai is actually about embracing the joy of little things, being in the here and now, reflecting on happy memories, and having a frame of mind that you can build a happy and active life. While some people might say that Ikigai is a lifelong learning, a never ending journey towards mastery and accomplishment that also brings fulfillment, I like to see Ikigai as something that might change throughout your life seasons. Maybe that's my inability to stick with things to mastery level. And I have to be honest that apart from swimming, there's not many things that I have stuck with for a really long time throughout my life to get to a level where I might be considered a master, if you like. And you might be in a different season right now in your life to where you were 5 years ago. Perhaps you are exploring new possibilities after raising your children, or you're changing careers, or maybe you're just feeling that inner pull that we talk about towards something that's more meaningful, that gives you more joy in your everyday. It's highly likely that those feelings and where you are right now, the season that you're in, are different to the season that you'll be in 10 years in the future, or that you were in 10 years ago in your past. So for me, Ikigai helps you to reframe uncertainties in your mind by helping you change the question that you ask yourself. So instead of asking, what's next? What's next in my life? What am I looking for? You can instead ask yourself, what actually feels aligned for me right now? And when you undertake that exercise and look at each of those circles and consider your skills, values, and talents in a way of giving service to others and helping others and making a difference in the world, whatever your world looks like, that's one way that you can really help explore value alignment and purpose and meaningfulness in your own life at this time. So if you're ready to, I would encourage you to press pause in a moment and take some time to think about the 4 circles. If you are journaling and you have a notepad to hand, you can write down the 4 headings, which are what I love, what I am good at, what the world needs, and what I can be paid for. And then under each of those headings, you can start listing whatever comes to mind. If you prefer to do it in circles, that's great. And like I say, I'll share the Venn diagram in the show notes so that you can picture how that looks and draw it out for yourself. So when you do this, you might see an obvious overlap, or it might not be obvious at all, and either is okay. Once you've noted your thoughts under each of the headings, you can then start to ask yourself some deeper questions. So you can start to look at where those areas do actually connect. If there's any patterns or themes that stand out to you. And you can start to consider how you might bring more of your Ikigai, your sweet spot, into your daily life. So not just necessarily into your work or your relationships, but as your own self-expression. To live your Ikigai, you have to keep practicing by making choices that feel aligned with your values and your energy. So each time you do something that really lights you up or that helps somebody else in a way that feels really authentic and purposeful to you, you'll be living your Ikigai. You can live your Ikigai in the conversations that you nurture, or in the projects that you say yes to, or in the moments of joy that you create just for yourself. Ikigai helps to remind us that purpose isn't a destination, it's a way of being. It's something that we can choose and we can change and we can live and we can enjoy and we can change again. And Ikigai can exist in our small daily rituals as well as in our big dreams. It doesn't have to be a significant life change. So today, I encourage you to reconnect with your sense of purpose by giving yourself time to reflect on those 4 areas and to ask yourself questions so that you can see the overlaps and the themes and what emerges for you and how you can live with more Ikigai in each of your days. You will already know everything that you need to know in order to complete this exercise. And then how you choose to apply what you know is your choice. Where you see opportunities to live more purposefully, that can change your focus and every single day's experience. The goal here is to identify and realign with what makes you feel most alive, from the smallest, simplest things that you can easily do to those larger things that might feel like more of a challenge, but that are also still within your reach. That level of awareness can really help you guide your next steps, whether that's a new idea that you're considering, perhaps a gentle change in your life, or maybe even something much more significant. It can be a really great opportunity to feel gratitude for what already exists in your life. And this exercise is for you. If you remember what Ken Mogi said, Ikigai is about waking up to joy. So I encourage you to give yourself time to complete this exercise, to reflect on those 4 areas, and to look at and identify ways that you can wake up to joy every single day. If this episode spoke to you, please take some time to journal your thoughts. If you would like to share your reflections, you can connect with me over on Instagram at the Purposeful Shift. To better understand the cultural depth and Japanese traditions that relate to Ikigai, I would encourage you to seek various perspectives, and I will link some sources to get you started in the show notes. If you haven't already, please consider following the Purposeful Shift so that you don't miss next week's episode, which is another special guest episode. Next week, I am sharing a conversation I had with the wonderful Alison O'Neill, who tells me about how she found purpose halfway around the world and how that has shaped her life ever since. Until then, I wish you well and thank you so much for sharing a small part of your day with me today. I will see you soon.